I had $4,000 sitting in an account built for exactly this. My dentist bill came in. I paid it out of pocket. Cash. Derek watched me do it and just stared. You have an HSA. I know. With money already in it. I know. So why pay cash instead of using the account that exists for exactly this bill? Because I think using the HSA would have cost me more money.
That doesn't make any sense. You have the money. It's sitting right there. That's exactly what I used to think too. Since I found out what this account is actually built to do, I don't see it as a spending account anymore. That's not an answer. It's the start of one. Because here's the thing. Derek wasn't wrong to ask. Everything he was thinking is exactly what I used to think. Bill comes in, you swipe the card, you save a little on taxes, you move on. That's what HR told me on day one. That's what the account is for. If someone had told me 6 years ago that leaving that money alone was the smarter move, I would have said the same thing Derek just said. That sounds insane. It's an account for medical bills. I have a medical bill. Use the account. That instinct isn't stupid. It's just built around treating the HSA like a wallet instead of what it actually is, which is an investment account that happens to let you pay medical bills out of it. Okay, what's it actually for then? Most people think an HSA gives you one tax break. Put money in before taxes, use it on medical bills, done. That's true. It's also only a third of the story. Money goes in untaxed. It grows untaxed. You take it out untaxed. As long as it's for a qualified medical expense. In, growth, and out. All three. Think of it as 4 buckets. The government reaches into 3 of them somewhere along the way. Once on the way in, once while it grows, once when it comes out. A 401k. They reach in on the way out. A Roth IRA. They reach in on the way in. A regular brokerage account. They reach in while it grows, and sometimes again when you sell. The HSA is the only bucket they never reach into. Not once. Put $1,000 in a brokerage account, and by the time it's grown and you've cashed it out, the government has taken a bite more than once along the way. Put that same $1,000 in an HSA, and none of that happens. Not once. That's not a small edge over a 401k or a Roth. That's a different category of account entirely, and it's sitting right there in most people's benefits package labeled like it's a debit card for copays. Derek sat with that for a second. If it's that good, why doesn't everyone just do what you're doing? Let me ask you something. When your medical bill comes in, what's the first account you think about? Your HSA? Mine too. That's exactly how we've all been trained to think, because nobody explains it any other way. HR hands you the card on day one and says, use it when you're sick. Contribute, spend, repeat. That's not wrong. It's just the only version most people ever hear. And most people also can't picture money they haven't spent yet the same way they picture money in front of them. A $4,000 balance looks like $4,000 just sitting there doing nothing. Spending it feels neutral. Leaving it alone feels like missing out on money you already have. It's backwards, but it's how it feels. So that's what most people do. HR teaches spending mode. Nobody mentions there's a growth mode. Okay, but what if you never spend it? Doesn't it just sit there forever? That's the part that actually convinced me. There's a rule in here that most people have never heard of, and once I found it, everything else clicked into place. The IRS doesn't put a deadline on when you have to reimburse yourself for a medical expense. I can pay a bill today, out of my own pocket, keep the receipt, and pull that exact amount back out of my HSA tax-free 5 years from now, or 15. There's no expiration on the receipt, which means the real move isn't spend or don't spend. It's pay it yourself now if you can afford to, and let the HSA money keep growing untouched in the background, completely separate from the bill you already paid. Okay, but what if you never spend it at all? What happens to the money then? That's the guardrail question, and it's the one that removes the last bit of risk. Before 65, if you pull money out of an HSA for something that isn't medical, you pay ordinary income tax plus a 20% penalty. That keeps people from treating it like a regular checking account, but after 65, that penalty disappears completely. Use the money on medical expenses at that point, and it's still totally tax-free. Use it on anything else, and you just pay ordinary income tax, the exact same as pulling money out of a 401k. So worst case, at 65, this account behaves exactly like the retirement account I already have. Best case, if I ever use it for medical expenses, at any age, it was never taxed at all. There's no version of leaving it alone that backfires. That's what made this an easy decision once I actually understood it. Okay, can literally anyone do this? Not quite. You need a high-deductible health plan to even open an HSA. If your plan doesn't qualify, this doesn't apply to you, so that's worth checking first. But if you do qualify and you're not maxing it out, you're leaving the best deal in the entire tax code sitting on the table. So how much are we actually talking about? You can put around $8,000 a year into an HSA. Do that for 10 years, leave it invested instead of spending it, growing around 10% a year, and you don't just have $80,000. You have around $127,000. I put in 80. Time added the other 47 for free because I didn't spend it the moment it landed. Here's what actually got me, though. I went back through my own HSA statements, 6 years of them. Every single bill, swiped straight off the balance the day it happened. So I added up what I'd pulled out, and then I ran what it would be worth today if I'd left every dollar of it invested instead. Roughly $14,000, swiped off that card over 6 years. Nothing dramatic. A few dentist visits, a couple of ER trips, the normal stuff. Left alone and invested the same way, that $14,000 would be sitting somewhere closer to $22,000 today. $8,000 gone. Not because I spent it on anything wrong, because I spent it the second it existed instead of letting it exist for a while first. I thought I was saving money every time I swiped that card. I was actually withdrawing future money before it ever had the chance to exist. That's when I stopped swiping the card. Not because I finally understood the tax rules, because I finally saw what 6 years of spending mode had actually cost me. So what do you do now? Just never pay for anything? No, I still pay the bill. I just pay it from my checking account if I can, and let the HSA money keep doing what it's actually good at. A shoebox of receipts turns into a tax-free withdrawal whenever I decide I need it, which is the part I can't quite get past. I used this account exactly the way I was told to for 6 years before any of this occurred to me. Derek didn't say anything for a second. Then he pulled out his phone. What are you doing? Checking how much is in mine. If I got that wrong for 6 years on an account I check every month, what else am I running in spending mode without even knowing growth mode was ever an option? Because if I misunderstood the best account I owned, what are the chances I've gotten the rest of them right?